Hey everyone, Sumo Spiffy here. Today we're doing a quick breakdown of Kusano after 6 days of the July 2025 tournament. I'm doing this now because these 6 days have shown some clear holes in his game, but also why he's still been effective. I didn't plan to do a full breakdown of Kusano even before my hard drive crashed because these flaws were apparent in Juryo, but his overwhelming physicality meant there weren't many examples to look at. But after these top division fights, I think it's worth looking at what he's done and how, because it might help us understand what we see as his schedule gets more difficult. Also, this is for educational purposes, so if the powers that be get wind of this, please let it stay up? Please? I'd really appreciate it. Okay, first day against Fujinoa. I'm gonna mostly play these at half speed so it's easier to see what's going on, but I will pause and backtrack as necessary. So, we've got the Tachiai, boom, they hit each other, and now I'm pausing here because watch Fujinoa's head. Watch where it hits his shoulder and watch the reaction. Boom. I'm gonna slow it down even more. It's gonna look a little grainy and I apologize, but that's what we've got to work with. So, boom, step, 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 step. So, Kusano's being aggressive, he's got the hand on the face. Fujinoa, he's got his feet set, he's not really going anywhere. But then he comes in, and now this is not unusual. Just snapping forward, banging your head into the dude's shoulder. If we back up a little bit again, he's pushing. Fujinoa was going backwards, and now Kusano is leaning forward. He's coming forward, and they're about to crash. This is normal. Like, this happens in sumo all the time. But boom, between the headbutt and the push to the face, look at Kusano. He's flailing all over the place. But this is extremely unusual for guys at this level. And it's all the more unusual because Kusano is an absolute beast. Fujinoa, he's a tough little dude, right? But he's like 50 pounds lighter than Kusano. So the fact that he could just it's not even like charging like on the Tachiai or from a distance. It's just a little bit of a quick step in and boom. And now Kusano is all over the place. So let's watch what happens from there. He comes forward. Kusano is trying to survive. Fuji pushes him. Fuji he's pushing. Kusano is on the retreat this whole time. And then Fuji gets inside and gets the belt. Back it up one more time. Fuji's pushing. He's pushing. Kusano cannot find a way to get back on offense. Once Fujinoa gets the belt, look at where they're positioned. Kusano's got maybe a foot, probably less, between him and the Tawara. Fujinoa's got the belt on this side, and he's gonna try to get the belt on the other side. Kusano's got a foot in the air. This is a losing position. Like, this isn't even a point where we say, okay, well, if he wants to come back, he's got to do X, Y, Z. This is a straight up losing position. And from there, Fuji just holds on. And then we get this dude who's standing in the way, get out of the way. And once he finally does, we see Fujinoa is in the air. So let's back this up a little bit and just try to follow the chain of events as best we can. Fujinoa is getting him against the rope, and all we can see is Kusano pulling up on Fuji's arm here. And Fuji is going way off balance. He was well set on the ground, and now he's just getting pulled right off of his feet. Once the dude is out of the way, we see that Kusano has basically grabbed Fujinoa by the arms and flung him over his body onto one foot and just hitting the ground before him. One more time. Even with this incredible power move, Kusano barely is able to win the fight. The only way you can do this, back up one more time. From here, Fujinoa is in an absolutely perfect position. He gets Kusano up against the rope. From this position, Kusano should not win. Kusano should be absolutely screwed. The fact that Fujinoa is so much smaller and Kusano is as strong as he is, if he was any less of a physical beast than he is, he would not win this fight. But he is able to flip Fujinoa off of his belt onto the ground and just win. I repeat, Kusano had no business winning this fight. That's how professional sports go sometimes though. The better athlete may not be the more skilled or be the one in the better position, but they still win because they're the physically superior person in the match. But even though he won, this was a bad start for Kusano. Yeah, Fujinoa, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but this is a match that Kusano should win probably 8 or 9 times out of 10 just because of the physical difference. For Fuji to blast him the way he did, with no real room to maneuver, it was like a 1-inch punch with his head, and then just stay on him with Kusano having no idea what to do except make a desperation power move at the end. That's not how this fight should go. As Kusano gets better, that's probably not how this fight will go most of the time, maybe not ever again. But in Juryo, Kusano's main weakness was sort of like Takeru Fuji. I mentioned this in the tier list. He's not great against power coming forward. And Fujinoa is by no means the strongest guy he's gonna face. So for Fuji to be able to do that to him, that's not a great sign. Day 2 against Chura Naomi was pretty straightforward. Chura Naomi, he gets his hands up. This allows Kusano to get his arms underneath Chura's, and then he gets the belt, and Chura's got no chance. This is pretty straightforward sumo from Chura Naomi, and it shows why pretty straightforward sumo from a lesser athlete is not going to work against this guy. Day 3 against Kotto, and I'm going to play this one at full speed for a while because we need some time to get to the actual critical moment. So they have the Tachi-ai, and they're almost instantly in a pretty even position. Kusano's position is actually pretty good. He's got the belt and Kotto doesn't. Kotto tries to fling him around. Bear in mind, Kotto is actually bigger than Kusano. He's taller and heavier, and you can just kind of see the physical difference between them. But now they're in this stalled position, and here's the failed throw. That's what we need to go back to. In this position, I mean, we've seen these stalled positions a lot. If you watch a lot of sumo, you see guys in this position all the time. Just here on day 6, Meisei and Hakuoho were sitting like this for a while. But Kusano gets impatient. Kusano feels like he needs to do something. Or maybe because he overpowers everybody he fights, he feels like he can do something anytime he wants. So he snaps back and he tries to pull a throw from this position. And this is a straight up error. This is a mistake on his part. Why? Well, look at his hand position. His hand is here on the belt. It is near his body. It's very close to his body, but he's trying to throw Kotto in this direction. He's trying to throw him basically over his leg. And this is extremely difficult. If you want to understand how the leverage works, if you have like a partner or a very close friend who's willing to do this with you, have them put on a belt, or have them, if you don't, nobody has a belt available, have them wear pants with a belt loop in it or belt loops in it. Grab them by a close belt loop, like stand side by side with them, grab them by a close belt loop, and then just try to pull them forward, like across your body. Obviously, a belt loop is not that great of a grip, but you'll probably find that's very difficult. Now, do the same thing, but reach around the back of their waist and grab them by a belt loop on that side. It's not really the belt loop that's doing it. Yes, it gives you a grip, but it's the fact that the arm is all the way around the waist that gives you the leverage to make that move, to pull them across you. The same thing is the case here. So let's say Kusano's got his arm around the back, right? It's not going to be all the way over here, but it's here. It's around the back of the belt. So what effect is that going to have? Well, Kotto arm is going to be more trapped. His elbow is going to be more locked out, as long as he's trying to stay on Kusano's belt. That's going to reduce the amount of leverage that he can apply going the other direction. It also means that instead of essentially trying to, you can't really see it, but trying to pull on Kotto left arm and then kind of pull with just his grip and maybe some of his bicep, if he's got the grip over here, he can use his entire body weight to try and fling Kotto over his leg and out. Instead, in this position, Kotto just sits on it. Kotto, he goes up on one leg, but he just lays his right leg over top of Kusano's, and Kusano does not have the power to get him out. There are definitely guys he could do this to and it would work, but Kotto is not one of them. So it's a bad decision in terms of he didn't have the right belt grip for this. It was a bad decision in terms of who he could do this to, and it was a bad decision in the sense that, when we put it all together, that it was just rushed. He tried to do something when he didn't need to do something. The position was static. Kotto was not settling in, and Kusano was trying to keep him off balance. It was a stalemate. It was a stall. There was no reason to try anything like this until he was good and ready to do it. Now, he's newer to the pro scene, maybe this is nerves kicking in, like he's got to do something, but it was the wrong choice in the wrong position. And from there, Kotto almost pushes him down, but Kusano's so damn strong he's able to prevent that from happening. And then as he turns away, he's trying to spin so hard that he breaks Kotto grip. And look at Kotto, he's barely hanging on. This almost works. This is actually a great idea by Kusano. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Kotto's able to leash him in and run him out of the ring. So this fight actually kind of showed both the good and bad of Kusano. One, the bad is that he doesn't really know what to do and when against guys who can match him physically. You look at his fights in Juryo and just the appearance is like he's fighting either a bunch of way smaller dudes or fluff balls. Even though a lot of them might outweigh him, they don't look nearly as dangerous as him, and they are not by any means the athlete that he is. Kotto is at least close, and there's going to be a lot more guys like that as he goes up the ranks. So Kusano's got to figure out when he can do things like this. Just because he's strong and wants a thing to work doesn't mean it's going to. Day 4 against Kaio, and this one was kind of wild. Kaio comes in, and Kusano, he gets his arms up. He gets inside. This looks like what he wants to do, but the question is, what is he actually going for here? We back this up. All right, Kaio is getting ready. Kusano sees it coming. He gets his right arm up against Kaio's shoulder. Okay, cool. Well, his left arm is pretty clearly doing something similar on the other side, even though we can't see it. But what's he supposed to do from here? The only move at this point is maybe a pull down. But at least he's got his weight forward. What's Kaio gonna do from here? Well, Kaio just shoves him back. Where is Kusano's balance? What is going on? This is the second time in 4 fights where he's been driven backwards by an opponent who really shouldn't be able to do that, at least not so easily. We continue, and Kusano manages to hop to a stop, and then Kaio starts putting it in reverse, right? Like he always does. Now here, Kusano really should have the advantage, right? He's got the hand on the belt, he's going for the belt. Kaio is going backwards, and even though he's trying to loop around, at this point everybody knows that's what he wants to do. In theory, Kusano should be able to control him, but Kaio actually does something kinda smart, kinda desperate, but it works out better than just getting thrown out of the ring. He starts do-si-doing Kusano. And then after he spins him around to keep Kusano's hand off the belt and get him off balance, he starts attacking. The idea here is good. There's nothing wrong with the idea. Here's the problem. You see his hand? This hand is not on the shoulder. This hand is not hitting the target. This hand is hitting the target. This hand is not hitting the target. So he's got no real push. He wanted to push, he doesn't have a real push. Plus Kusano is leaning in. This isn't going to go anywhere. Could Kaio have made this work? Slowing it down, we go do-si-do, spin him. Now, Kusano's shoulder is already down. It's not like he lowers the shoulder to avoid the hand coming in. Kaio just misses. That's all there is to that. And from there, Kaio is back on the retreat. This is where Kusano should absolutely win the match. But another thing that Kusano sometimes struggles with is ring control. Watch what Kaio does. He backs up, Kusano, he locks his feet and pushes. So now he's extended, he's stretched out. He's not keeping up with Kaio. Yes, Kaio has unusually fast feet for a guy his size, but Kusano stops coming forward as Kaio parries his arm just to try and extend his arm for the push. And then Kaio freaking gets away. This is so bad. What should happen is at this point, actually, let's go back. So he's getting this turned around. He's on the attack. Kaio loves to go to the side. If you do any scouting on Kaio, he loves to just back up. He doesn't just go straight backwards like the guys with no knees. He goes in circles. The way you stop a guy from moving laterally is to get your arms on either side of his body. And Kusano has done this plenty of times. But instead, he just starts pushing, and he pushes again, which it just misses, and Kaio gets away. If Kusano gets the turn here, and then just sticks it, because look at Kaio's hands. His hand is up. The other hand is over here. Kusano can get his right arm around that side and then his left arm around the other side and just kind of squeeze him in a vice grip with his forearms and run him out. That will work fine. But he doesn't think to do that. He just wants to push. So Kaio ends up getting away again. And then Kusano, he starts pushing, and at this point, Kaio is just tired. That's the thing. He's unusually mobile for a big guy, but being a big guy still means that mobility takes it out of him. So here, he wants to get away. Kusano messes with him. He tries to step away one more time here, but he just doesn't have it. And now Kusano gets his arms around the sides and wins. That was way harder than it should have been. Even if you accept that, okay, well, Kaio got him moving backwards at the start and that happens and that's okay. And the surprise little do-si-do, all right, well, nobody really does that, so how are you supposed to defend it? Kusano could have ended that fight much sooner and not left himself in danger of somehow getting outmaneuvered, which would very likely happen against a better wrestler. Fortunately, he's against Kaio, and this was probably Kaio's best fight of the whole tournament so far. Day 5 against Asakoryu, and Asakoryu is going to do Asakoryu things. So, they have the Tachiai. Asakoryu hits him, it gets lower than him, which he's shorter, that's definitely possible, gets his head back and pushes him up. If you've been watching the channel for a while, I'm sure you've heard me say that if you want to hit a guy with a slap down, you push his head back and then you create recoil. Well, what does Asakoryu do? Pushes his head back and then gets out of the way, uses that to try and pull him down. Now, it's not a great pull down. It's not really intended to be a winning move. It's just designed to get Kusano off balance so that Asakoryu can get a better position. He kind of does, but Kusano has turned and he's met him fairly evenly. So it's sort of worked, but Asakoryu's got some work to do from this position. And what ends up happening? Kusano gives him the arm. Let's back that up because this is just, it's not like Kusano did something incredibly stupid, but it was very, very badly timed. So Kusano, he's got his hand to the face. Okay. He's got Asakoryu at a little bit of a distance, which should be somewhat to his advantage. And then he puts the right hand underneath to go for the belt. This is the problem. Now, a lot of these things happen all at once, so it's hard to blame the guy. Like, he has an idea and then it just doesn't work out. And when you're looking at it in super slow-mo, it's a lot easier to see the issue. But here is the issue. His right arm is going underneath to get the belt. But at the same moment, Asakoryu is coming forward and Kusano is leaning back. That's not a way to get the belt. That's a way to get your ass kicked. And what ends up happening? Asakoryu just takes that arm. Look, Kusano, I'm not even sure if he has the belt here. He's either got it or he's still trying to get it, but Asakoryu is kind of arm barring him. And he uses that and the push on the head to start spinning him around. The only issue for Asakoryu at this point is that Kusano is a lot bigger than him. And this is not the greatest pushing position. Asakoryu's pretty good at straightforward attacks, but it's when he can plant his face in your chest, get your belt, and drive you backwards. This is not so much to his advantage, but it's still a great position to be in. So Asakoryu is pushing the head. Kusano, he steps in. Now he's starting to fight back. Asakoryu gets his arms thrown up, but he clearly is ready for that because he gets his arms back down and around quickly because he wants to get the belt. This is the position I was talking about. This is the position where Asakoryu can do some work. He's got his hands on the sides, and if he can just get the belt, he can get Kusano out. Unfortunately, Kusano left his arms down in that whole process, which meant where Asakoryu had to whip them around after they got thrown off of Kusano, Kusano's arms were already in position. So now his hands are inside of Asakoryu's. And from there, he can just start lifting up like he did to Chura and Umi. Asakoryu tries to throw him, but it's hopeless. So that one wasn't quite as bad as the Fujinoa fight, but in that case, Kusano got played pretty much the whole time. He got pushed back, he got pulled down, he ended up, unfortunately, opting in a way to a really bad position, and only his brute force was able to throw off the position Asakoryu wanted and get him in a spot where he could get Asakoryu back and out. Unlike the Fuji fight, I'm not saying that he absolutely should have lost this one. I think it was more of a 50-50, but he definitely got outskilled and won through power. And now day 6 against Shishi, and this one was pretty straightforward. This is probably Kusano's best fight of the tournament so far. On the Tachiai, Kusano jams in, hits him in the stomach. I actually missed that the first time around, I didn't see that. But then he gets his right arm around the back, and once that gets clamped, immediately snaps his left arm around and gets it on the belt. This is him just being faster than Shishi. I think they're close to the same size. Shishi might be a little bit bigger. I'm pretty sure Kusano was stronger, but his hands are way, way faster here. And then all he has to do once he's got a very good position is just overpower Shishi. Pull him, get him off his feet, lift him up, and dump right out of the ring. Yes, thank you Gyoji, goodbye to Kusano. So what's our takeaway? Fujinoa should have beat him. The size difference is the only reason Kusano won. Asakoryu had him in a really bad position, and even though Asakoryu's mobility and size go together and the mobility is what helped him there, if Kusano doesn't figure out how to clean up situations like that, he's gonna get beat plenty of times when he's in similar circumstances. Kaio ran him in circles, and Kusano really only won because it was Kaio. Chura, Umi, and Shishi, okay, he dominated those fights like he should have. And Kotto Shoujo is the kind of fight that we should expect to see as Kusano gets more matches against guys who are physical matches for him and also very experienced. So while Kusano is 5-1 at this point, he's really only had 2 good wins thus far, and the competition's not gonna get much easier as things go on. I still think he's in a good position to get at least 10 wins just because there will be enough guys who cannot match him physically that he'll face, but he's pretty fortunate to be 5-1, and we'll see how many more brute force tricks he can pull as the Basho goes on. Anyway, that's the mini breakdown for Kusano. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy day 7 and the rest of the Basho.